pan-Africanism has been criticized. There is assertions that as Africa, we've forgotten our glorious ancient past, that had empires, kingdoms, chiefdoms, and traditional authorities that had tremendous indigenous knowledge and civilization, that we are stuck with what happened to Africa, the foreign invasions, slavery, then the colonialism and neo-colonialism, and that the last 50 years hasn't been good to us because Africa was preoccupied with wars, with civil conflict, with poverty, corruption, and that Africa is failing to rise out of its past. The criticism might be of some genuine concerns, but I think the criticism is unfair because there are many things that Africa and African leaders are doing to resolve the issues of the past, to come out of the harassment of the past, and to ensure that we go for the future. Africa has since devised the Agenda 2063. This is a perception of the Africa we want by 2063. It's a revision of the last 50 years. And the Agenda 2063 seeks to develop Africa, to have an Africa that is prosperous, that its people be proud of. We have since crafted some programs and initiatives under Agenda 2063, which we are calling the flagship projects. These include the integrated high-speed rail. This seeks to connect all African states for easy movements of goods and services. We've also devised the African commodity strategy. The purpose of the African commodity strategy is to ensure that we get higher rent for the commodities that Africa has, that we do not export raw materials, that we add value addition to our products, and that we bring the global value chain to Africa so that Africa stops exporting the jobs, Africa stops exporting raw materials, and that Africa begins to process all these materials, industrialize its manufacturing centers. We've also come up with the Continental Free Trade Area. This has broken down no borders so that Africa can trade with itself. Africa has been trading up to 80% with the world and only 12% with itself. So we are using the regional blocks that we break down these barriers, and that the CFTA, the entire Africa of 1.2 billion people with a GDP of $3 trillion begin to exploit this market. It becomes the largest market in the world, open market in the world. And this will help quickly for Africa to industrialize, for Africa to manufacture within itself. To achieve all this, the ambitious projects that Africa has, we've recognized that there should be free movement of people. So all persons across Africa should move freely without any barriers and without any difficulties, and we've devised the African passport, a passport where all nationals adopt it, will become a single document for any African to move across all borders. We recognized that Africa, especially in the last 50 years, suffered from coup d'etats, wars, civil conflict, and divisions that threatened the peace and unity of Africa. So we have come up with a project of silencing the guns, that the guns in Africa must be silent, that the latent wars going on, whether it's in Eastern Congo or in Mali, or the war and conflicts in Libya, must come to an end and the guns must be silent. This is an aggressive program to ensure that there's peace in Africa for goods and services to move and for trade to take place. We also recognize the difficulties and challenges that if we were to begin the manufacturing within Africa, if we were to industrialize, we are lacking energy. So we have the Great Inga Dam, the project that will be based in the DRC, where we are expected to produce up to 43,000 megawatts. This has already been preceded by transmission lines across Africa, from east to west, from south to the north. Transmission lines, industrial transmission lines are being laid. We also have the single African air transport market. This is to resolve the difficulties of the aviation sector in Africa. In many cases, you have to go to Europe just to get to Africa, or to get to one neighboring state to another, you have to go to Johannesburg or go to Addis Ababa. So the single African air transport market will resolve the aviation crisis that Africa has, commercialize it properly, and allow the aviation benefits to come to Africa. Africa has recognized that it had the glorious ancient past, that it had unequaled civilization with indigenous knowledge, that this was rudely interrupted by slavery, colonialism, and neocolonialism. And in the last 50 years, we've known what has held back Africa. It's the civil conflict, the wars, and the unnecessary divisions. We now are coming together through Agenda 2063 to devise the Africa we want.